When developing, you need to eke out every ounce of profit out of a property. Sometimes you need to spend money to do that, which can be a problem if you don't have any. Putting the second bathroom in, making sure every bit of the house is in tip-top condition, all these things could make it worth as much as £250,000.
I'm just thinking, yeah, ouch, how much money is it going to cost?
Cutting corners when you're property developing is never a good idea, as you won't get the most out of your development. If your budgets are too tight, it could mean throwing away the opportunity of a lifetime.
Take this. It's a perfect property development, and I don't say that very often. It's a 5-bedroom Victorian semi in Felixstowe, Suffolk, a snip at £156,000. Furniture maker Mike Horgan and girlfriend Laura Archer, a teacher, think it's a great way to make money, so they've invested everything they own.
You know, I think it's a worry when you stretch yourself financially so much. I mean, to borrow as much money as you can possibly borrow, you know, sticking your neck out a little bit too far is definitely a daunting prospect, really.
It's quite a test for us as well, really.
Yeah. I think Laura's DIY skills are kind of non-existent, so
So I'm being told what to do.
Exactly.
So.
And I can be quite bossy, I think.
Laura's going to have to learn quickly because there's a lot to do. The house has been squatted in for 7 years and it's a real mess. I think it could be transformed into a fantastic family home, but that will take a bit of vision and a lot of cash.
Who's the keen gardener, then?
I do like a bit of gardening, I must
Do you?
admit.
So how much did you buy the house for?
156,000.
Right, and what are you planning on spending doing it up?
12,000.
Is that in total, including all your fees? That doesn't seem very much money.
No, yeah, with all the mortgage repayments and the other fees, it'll be about 18,000, but I've sort of taken care of those and I'm covering the mortgage in my job, so...
Right. It still doesn't seem an enormous amount, considering the size of the house.
Bit ambitious, you reckon?
Yeah, I'd say.
£18,000 to turn this into a desirable family home, I'm not convinced.
I would have thought this would be a best part of a £35,000–40,000 job, just to do the work and plus materials on top and plus costs on top of that. Do you have a contingency for spending more?
I've got about 1,000 and then a credit card, so I've literally worked out what money I can get, what I can get hold of, and then I've sort of allocated, that's what I've got for that, that's what I've got for the kitchen, that's what I've got for the bathroom, I can't go over that.
What do you plan on selling it for?
Hopefully, I'd like to think I'll get about 215 for it.
So that would leave you £40,000 profit.
Yeah.
But it would take a minor miracle to turn this around for £18,000, especially as £6,000 of that's already allocated for their mortgage payments and fees. But you've kind of got to admire them. Mike wanted to develop this property so much, he just stuck his neck out and bought it. The problem is the maximum they could raise was £174,000. So once they'd bought it for £156,000, that left Mike and Laura only with £18,000 to spend on the development. They're hoping to sell for £215,000 and make a £41,000 profit. But for once, I think they've underestimated their sale price. House prices in Felixstowe are still going up. What's more, period properties like this are few and far between around here. Get the look right, and they sell for a premium.
I think you could get somewhere between the 215 and the nearer the 250 level if you make the layout the perfect layout and make this the perfect house.
Worth spending the extra money, you think?
I think so. You know, there is the potential of making the extra profit.
I think I shall wait until the £12,000 has run out and then reassess it at the time.
Unfortunately, I don't think he'll have to wait very long. For £12,000, Mike's planning to restore over 20 of the old sash windows, plaster all the walls, do all the electrics and plumbing, fit the kitchen and bathrooms, do all the decoration, and redesign the garden. On top of that, their structural survey recommended that up to half of the roof would need replacing. He hasn't got a penny in the budget for that, or any professional labour. He's planning on doing the whole house himself, from top to bottom. And that's a lot of house. This is a classic late Victorian 3-storey semi. There are 2 bedrooms on the top floor and 3 more bedrooms on the second floor, along with the property's one and only bathroom. On the ground floor at the front, there are 2 good-sized reception rooms. But the kitchen is way too small for a large family home. Plus, there are 2 utility areas to the rear which block off the views to the garden. Mike and Laura's plan is to fit a bathroom here at the back in one of the utility rooms.
Why are you putting a bathroom at the back of the house?
I just thought it'd be good to have a... I think for the size of the house, I think I definitely need like a downstairs toilet. I think with the size of the room I've got out the back there, I think it'll be, you know, pointless not to put a shower in there as well.
I don't think any family would ever use a bathroom right at the back of the kitchen. If you could knock through all of these walls right the way out, have French doors at the end so the whole thing overlooks the garden, so you've got a view right from the front door right the way out across the garden, I think that would be the ultimate layout for the ground floor.
I'm then talking major works. Again, with the budget I've got, I really don't think that's going to be something that's I'm going to be able to swallow.
I can't say often enough that a decent-sized kitchen breakfast room overlooking the garden sells property. And it would be so easy to do here. I'd knock the kitchen and utility areas together and put in double doors leading to the garden. It would create a perfect living space as the hub of this big family home. But they're right, a 5-bedroom house does need a second bathroom. Only not down here.
On the top floor, because that front room is such an incredible room with brilliant views, I personally would be tempted to make the room behind it, which is a lovely big room, into a luxury bathroom, and then the whole of that top floor would be a master suite. And I think that might be the clincher that would get you that extra money and guarantee you a sale.
The great thing about putting the second bathroom up here is that because it's next door to the master bedroom, it's like an ensuite, but you still have the access off the corridor, which is the best of both worlds. And I think this will add real value. 4 bedrooms with 2 bathrooms will be worth substantially more in this development than 5 bedrooms with 1 bathroom.
That sounds really good, but then again, budget, time, how much work can I do? You know, it's it's like, you know, sky's the limit. What can I do here?
Putting a bathroom upstairs won't cost any more than their plan of fitting one in the kitchen. What's more, Mike and Laura have plans to swap the existing bathroom with the rear bedroom, which would be a lot of work for no profit and an area they could save money.
Now, you want to swap the bathroom and the back bedroom over. Why do you want to move the bathroom?
I've just got a good feeling about having a bigger bathroom. A nice roll top bath coming out from the wall to be able to walk all the way around it.
Because the house is so big, there's almost that need that you want a bit more of a larger, luxurious bathroom to accommodate all the bedrooms that you've got, really, I suppose.
Honestly, it's a luxury. You can't really afford to have a bath in the middle of the room. I mean, it's a lovely idea.
See, I don't agree with that. I just
Do you not agree?
Nah,
I wouldn't agree if it was my house, but this is a development.
£12,000 simply isn't enough to do all the work here. So Mike and Laura have to prioritise where it's being spent, and moving this bathroom is wasting what little they've got. Mike and Laura only have £2,400 for 2 bathrooms and the kitchen, £1,500 for structural repairs, £1,300 for damp work, £1,300 for materials, and £2,500 for plumbing and wiring. They've £1,000 for the decoration, £1,000 for the garden, and £1,000 for emergency costs. The £6,000 fees include 5 mortgage payments, but that means they have to get this finished and sold in 5 months. Their total budget is £18,000. Mike's planning on doing all the work himself. But although he's a furniture maker, he's not a plumber or a plasterer or an electrician. And he's never tackled anything like this before.
It's just completely budgeted differently.
Yeah.
I think you need to go away and think.
Big stuff.
Mike Horgan and Laura Archer are developing this dilapidated 5-bedroom Victorian semi in Felixstowe in Suffolk on a £12,000 shoestring budget. And while this might sound good for their bank account, it could be disastrous for their profits. The house desperately needs a larger kitchen, but Mike doesn't think he can knock through the rooms without paying professional builders. And he's determined to do everything himself.
I'm going to try and do as much work as I can. I don't want to get tradesmen in where I don't think it's sort of 100% necessary.
It's week 1 of this 20-week development, and Laura's just beginning to realise what Mike's let them both in for.
Down by the stairs, I'd spent ages all day scraping the walls, and then you come up here and you think, oh, you've got to do all the other walls, and I just think that's just going to be the most tedious, longest part of it, is just prepping all the walls up.
Although they're not doing any structural work, there's still a huge amount of preparation. In fact, stripping off and sanding down the old paintwork turns out to be the mother of all tasks. Laura and Mike both have full-time jobs, and with only weekends and evenings to work on the property, 1 whole month goes by, and amazingly, they're still at it. Just.
I'm into decorating and painting, but manual stuff, I'll do it, but it's not, you know, I find it harder to stay here for 4 hours and scrape skirting boards than Mike.
The shame is Mike and Laura are so desperate to save money, they're missing the bigger picture. If they spent more money on the right things, they could sell this development for a much higher price. So I'm taking them to see a fantastic open-plan kitchen diner to try and influence their plans.
This here is what you could have. What do you reckon?
It's really nice.
Looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah, just walking straight from there.
Yeah.
It's instant.
But it's about the sight lines. And this is a similar width as yours. What's yours? About, was it
320, I think, yeah.
Okay, so this is 315, so this is slightly narrower. And I reckon about, must be about a metre shorter than yours.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. I mean, just looking down at the garden there, but it's, I'm just thinking, yeah, ouch, how much money is it going to cost?
I think there's a danger that without the kitchen breakfast room and without fulfilling the maximum potential of the house, you might not get 200,000 for it. Whereas if you do everything, you have the kitchen breakfast room and you have the extra bathroom, all these things could make it worth as much as £250,000.
I think it looks amazing, and I think we should go for it and do it and spend that little bit more money.
I think we'll probably seriously consider doing the kitchen diner like this one there, won't we?
Yeah.
I think having looked at this, it does make such a big difference.
This is a real breakthrough. The kitchen diner will transform the property. But it does mean more work, and their schedule is already slipping. To help catch up, Mike's decided to move in. That way he can spend more time working and less travelling.
I think you can stand in here, have a shower, no problem. Just to de-dust after a hard day's work.
Mike, I do worry about you. I think I'm just going to stay at my mother's until the whole bathroom is done.
Until a working bathroom is up and running, it looks as if Mike will be sleeping alone.
I'll see you tomorrow.
From day one, Mike's been determined to do all the work. And now he's decided to knock through the kitchen and utility rooms himself to create a fantastic new open-plan kitchen. wall number 1 isn't load-bearing, and Mike sets about taking it down.
Excellent. Oh, it looks bigger now. Sweet.
It'll be absolutely fantastic to remove this wall and make an absolutely huge room with loads of space.
But he knows enough to know that wall number 2 is much more of a problem. It's load-bearing and supports the entire back of the house. Mike's never done anything like this before, but he sets about preparing to take it down all the same. Before touching any structural work, I'd always recommend getting an expert to check out what you're doing. And just as well for Mike, that's exactly what he does.
You've got 4 acro props at the moment on this side of the wall,
Yeah.
which is the low side. I think you're going to need some additional support to the other side of the wall.
I need 4 down this side, though. I can't
Yeah.
just take 2 back from here and put them
No,
on that side.
no, there's a lot of load there. You're going to need a lot more additional support.
So I get about another 3 or 4 of those.
Another 4.
Another 4
Another
of those.
4,
Right,
yes.
okay.
This is not what Mike wants to hear. Hiring in 4 more supports would cost only £100, but incredibly, he decides to ignore the structural engineer's advice and starts demolishing the wall anyway.
It's like playing Jenga, isn't it?
This could literally bring the house down.
I don't think I'll ever feel 100% happy until the big steel's in and it's supported, and I don't think I'll ever actually be walking underneath it without running.
Mike is taking a terrifying risk. There's absolutely no point in paying out for professional advice and then completely ignoring it.
It all looks the same, which is quite reassuring, actually. It's, yeah, props are still up there and everything's being held. Yeah, and the back of the house still looks cool.
He may be relieved, but the entire house could still collapse because Mike wouldn't spend £100. Thankfully, even Mike knows putting in permanent support is a job for the pros. And with the property safe, everyone can breathe a sigh of relief. One thing is clear, Mike is prepared to go a long way to save money. And he's spotted a way to make some back. He's kept all the old bricks to sell on as salvage. Salvage is big business. There are over 2,500 salvage yards around the country, which means it's never been easier to help your budget by recycling. And you'd be amazed just how much your rubbish could be worth. You can get up to £1 each for old bricks. If Mike ever gets round to replacing his roof, the slates he can't use he can sell on for as much as £1.50 each. In fact, period features from radiators to railings and taps to showers can earn you cold, hard cash. And remember, period doesn't just mean Victorian. 50s retro is back, and so too are the bathrooms, kitchens and lights. The development is 8 weeks in and the stress is beginning to show.
When you first said it to me, I was sitting down, grouting the floor, and you said, "Oh, I'm going to keep it like that." And I thought you were joking. I thought it was just Mike didn't want to plaster the wall.
Thankfully, Mike and Laura have decided to save their money and leave the existing bathroom where it is. But Mike has an unconventional design idea, exposing the original brickwork on one wall whilst covering the other with a mirror.
I'm worried that it's now going to look too much with that wall like that and that wall with a big mirror on it. But then by having too many walls doing different things, doesn't that make it smaller?
No. I'm thinking mirror.
I'm thinking
makes
too
it look
many
bigger.
fussy walls.
I think if we squabble about little things and tastes in every single room, there's a lot of rooms in this house, and I think it would just absolutely wear me out squabbling about it.
I'm not surprised Mike is tired, but heaven only knows what he'll be like at the end of the project. There's still a very long way to go and some big decisions to make.
Well, this is great.
Yeah, it's a lot bigger now, huh?
Yeah, that's made a really big difference.
Knocking these 3 rooms together has created a fantastic kitchen breakfast room that's big enough for a downstairs loo. I'd place it at the top of the cellar steps because although that means you can only get to the cellar through the loo, this would be wasted space otherwise. But Mike and Laura want to put it directly opposite, giving them less kitchen units.
Are you going to put a loo down there?
Lou's going to go here.
Sort of behind
Right.
where we're standing, really,
Why
sort
is
of in
that?
this.
It's just, it's neater and it's out of the way, and I felt that your idea to
Laura
go...
hated your idea.
I didn't. I just felt that it blocked the prospects of using the basement as another room, going through the toilet to go down the stairs.
I'm not sure the cellar's ever going to be used for anything other than dumping things, because it's always going to be damp and it's always going to have low head height unless you spend a lot of money on it. You don't really use that space anyway, it's kind of in the corner, so it's going to make less of an impact on this room to have the loo there than it is chopping a bit more of the room out here.
Yeah.
I think the loo's staying in this corner.
Is it?
Yeah, the loo's in.
Okay.
I can't make any more changes to plans, I don't think.
Mike may not be able to face any more changes, but old properties have a way of forcing you to do things you don't want to. 3 months into this 5-month development, there's bad news.
I basically had a leak that was dribbling sort of down this groove here. So is that going to be a massive job or an easy job? Nice and cheap? Or
Well, no, it won't be cheap.
there's no way of doing a, I hate to say bodge, but a quick sort of...
No, not really, anyway.
This is a major problem and one they should have seen coming when they bought the property. The surveyor told them the roof would need replacing, but they didn't put a penny in the budget for any repairs. And the bad news doesn't stop there.
You've got nail fatigue up there now, which means the slates will just slip all the time. I'd advise you to strip it off and have a re-roof on the back, really.
Right.
I mean, cost-wise, you're looking at probably about £3,500.
And to actually re-roof the place was nothing certainly wasn't anything I budgeted for.
I mean, I'm just giving you some advice, really.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're chucking money away when you keep repairing it.
Having a budget of £12,000 was always a recipe for disaster. Mike and Laura could now remortgage to raise some extra cash. They will need this to do the job properly, otherwise the property could be difficult to sell. But Mike's come up with another solution that he hopes will get them out of trouble.
And if I could get someone to rent it out for a year, that would be great. And then obviously look and see how that goes, as to whether I continue to rent it or then consider selling it.
Although they're in a tough position, this isn't the answer. It's a good time to sell here because whilst property prices have been going up, they're beginning to level off. And I just don't think this sort of house will be easy to let, considering the local market. Felixstowe Docks are the largest employers in the area, and the rental demand is great for small, cheap properties. But not for houses like Mike's.
So I think in this area it'll be quite difficult to rent a house this big. And it's a big house to rent. And most people who rent round here are looking for smaller properties.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try and rent it to start with. Obviously, I don't know how that's going to turn out, so...
If it doesn't let, you'll have to re-roof it, you'll have to be putting a new bathroom in, and it actually seems quite a false economy to try and save the money now and do it later.
At this moment in time, I just can't get my head around that, and the money isn't there. At this stage, it's not going to be done.
I think you'd be better off borrowing the money, getting the roof done, getting the place up to scratch, getting another bathroom in, and selling it on day one.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying totally. It's just because I've just got so much going on here doing it, I just don't even get time to sit down and think about that.
Mike's been working so hard on this project he can't see the wood for the trees. Laura's at the property less and less, and everything is taking twice as long as he'd planned. Mike has now been living on site for 10 weeks, but however late he works, he's weeks behind and never seems able to catch up. Eventually, though, he and Laura decide to get a second opinion on renting the house.
Personally, I would really recommend that you consider selling this particular property, because in Felixstowe it's the 2/3 bedrooms, 1-bedroom flats, you know, that really rent very, very quickly. Lots of demand. At present on our books, we have in excess of 30 to 40 people waiting for that style of property. For a property the size that you have, we have like one family waiting for something like that. You know, I personally would recommend selling.
It looks like Mike's plan to rent out the house isn't the great solution he'd hoped for.
That's put a real spanner in the works, and I really now don't know what to do.
Mike Horgan and Laura Archer are hoping to make £41,000 profit for 5 months' work on this large Victorian semi. They're 4 months in and the property still looks utterly derelict. They've blown their budget and now are cutting corners wherever they can. The roof is at the end of its life and it should be replaced, but Mike's still determined only to patch it up.
At the moment the funds aren't there and it's not going to get done. So we'll just wait and see, I guess.
Their solution was to rent the house out and save up the cash to do the roof. I think there's a real danger, though, they won't be able to rent it, and they won't be able to sell it.
It just seems I'm banging my head against the wall thinking I'm going to get the ideal tenant in here who's going to stay here for a long term, and everything's going to be rosy. It's just too many ifs.
I think we're actually finding a tenant for this house, we could be waiting for ages. Bottom line is we've decided to sell up rather than rent.
Yeah, and we talked about it and discussed various things, and yeah, it's all stacked up that we've got to. I think we just got to sell it, take the money, and move on.
Although this really is the right move, it means they're very short of money, and I'm not sure how they're going to actually finish this job. But with Mike's unerring eye for a bargain, there's always a chance they might pull it off.
Yeah, it was a bit of a whim, this one. Went to the local DIY store to buy a paint stripper, and, you know, a lawn that's normally £2.50 a roll was 50p a roll. For 25 quid, I can lawn this entire area. Obviously, it's not looking too nice at the minute, but I'm really hoping by the time you come back, in a couple of weeks maybe, that it's nice and green and looking lush, although it seems hard to believe that at the moment.
With a bit of luck, the grass will grow back, but I'm worried that inside, the drive to cut costs is going to have a serious effect on their profits, because this massive house is only going to have 1 bathroom.
So you're not going to put one in upstairs?
When you mentioned that to me on the first day, why not make it a master suite, and I thought, too much work, but really, yeah, I think I wish I had just gone straight for it and put another bathroom up there.
At this stage, it might be worth just biting the bullet and going for it.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's just a question of money again and time. Had I done it at the first time, I wouldn't have had to. I mean, I've obviously run sockets. There's 4 sockets in that room, and now got to be taken out. Things like that, which is just a pain. I think, well, had I done it to start with, then it would have been a much wiser move.
I mean, I know that you're short on time, and I know you're short on money, but it's not too late. This is not a finished house by a long stretch of the imagination. And now's the time that you really should find the extra money and do it, because I really think you'll regret it when you come to sell this. If you regret it now, you're going to regret it 100 times more by the time the project's finished.
Yeah.
I think it would be brilliant to have one up there. I think it would really set the house off. But like Mike says, we should have thought about it to start with and said, right, we're going to do it.
I think for renting or for selling, a 4-bedroom house or a 5-bedroom house is not going to be worth any difference in value, but a 1-bathroom house or a 2-bathroom house will clinch it.
As a rule of thumb, when developing, you need 1 bathroom for every 3 bedrooms. And here, that means they have to find the money to get bathroom number 2. But just when it's looking impossible, Mike and Laura finally get some good luck for a change.
And one option I've really looked at would be sort of coming through the fence here with a pipe underground, directly down sort of to more or less to just short of your house, where you've got a manhole.
Not only has Mike's bargain basement lawn sprung into life, but his neighbour wants to run a waste pipe through his land.
I'd be looking to pay you for doing that. That would all be inspected, you know, by the building inspector.
I've no idea how much money we'll be talking about. Obviously, that's something that has to be covered, I guess.
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, I was sort of thinking of a ballpark figure of about sort of £2.5 grand, 2,500.
Right, OK. That's all money I could do with. It's going to help me a great deal to do other things in the house.
Why don't you have a think about it and then come back to me?
I can't see any reason why not. I'm on a tight budget, so, you know, that sort of money comes in handy, so, yeah.
Great.
Making money on side deals like this can seem a godsend, but you should seal the deal in writing. Make sure you don't accept responsibility for any maintenance work and that the position of the pipe is clearly marked on your plans. For about £200, a solicitor will draw up an agreement, and that's money well spent. Mike is still £2.5 grand better off. Now I hope that they spend it in the right places, like the second bathroom, and getting some help to get this place done. Because in 2 weeks this property is supposed to be on the market, but that's looking very, very unlikely. Mike's been working as project manager, chief labourer and skilled worker, but he's barely even started on the plumbing and plastering.
I think I've done all right, but I think I definitely recommend using plasterers who know what they're doing, I guess.
Mike moved in to try and get more done, but even that's caused its own problems.
As far as the relationship goes, yeah, there is a certain amount of pressure on that. I mean, we just haven't seen each other hardly for the last month, to be honest. But the situation is at the moment, it's, you know, it's one of those things you've got to put up with, I suppose.
It has been hard because I want to see him, and you know, I kind of, you know, house is first, and the house is his priority. I managed to drag him away just to go out for the day the other day, and you know, he just wanted to chill out and sleep because, you know, it is taking its toll on him. I knew when we did this project that it was going to, you know, be the biggest test for us.
12 weeks after Mike moved in, there's still no creature comforts, which doesn't seem to bother him.
I don't think there's any chance of getting Laura a pepper wash like this, but, you know, I don't see it as any great hardship, really. It's not going to kill me.
Laura's not impressed.
I'm not going to move in until it's livable. To my standards, not yours.
Okay.
When are you going to do that?
Next week.
Next week.
Well, I have been saying that for about 2 months.
Okay, so we're not quite there yet.
No, no way.
This project is simply too big for one person. 2 weeks later, I've come back because it's supposed to be done.
This is a very long way off being finished. And you were going to be finished in 5 months, and it's now 5 months today.
Yeah, we're a little bit behind, I'm afraid.
How much longer do you reckon it'll take?
I think I'm probably out for about 5 weeks, I think.
Gosh, only 5 weeks, you reckon?
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty close on that.
So you've got the windows to go in, you've got all the decorations to do, the kitchen to fit, the bathroom to fit, and there's quite a lot to do.
Yeah, it is. When you sort of add it all up like that, it's quite a lot, yeah.
Something has to give somewhere. And the easiest and most quantifiable job is the decorating.
Yeah.
So I would really strongly recommend that you get a quote from a team of decorators to decorate the whole house, to ease up the time so that you can actually think about the whole project and stand some realistic possibility of getting this done in the next 5 weeks.
Yeah, that seems a bit of a cop-out, though.
It seems sort of getting this far and then not finishing it, and letting somebody else have the pleasure of putting the paint on the walls after me or doing all that scraping. And
if you really want to finish in 5 weeks, I think you have to get some help in.
someone's going to have to come in and help somewhere. I haven't really had time to sit down and think who's going to do what yet. Well, I do have some good news for you. We have decided to sort of put the second bathroom in upstairs on the top floor, and put that into the master suite you suggested in the early days.
I'm really glad you're doing this, actually, because it'll certainly make the house worth more than it costs to do.
This is great news, but Mike really does need to hire in some help because there's still an amazing amount to do, including lovingly restoring 22 sash windows by hand.
It's a monstrous job, really. But hopefully this is going to save me an awful lot of money. I can't imagine you'd get a window for less than sort of £400 or £500, really. So 22 of those, a lot of money. That's definitely going to keep me busy for a while.
The trouble is, there's no way Mike is going to be able to restore all the windows and get the house finished in 5 weeks all on his own. But his neighbour's cash comes to the rescue again, and Mike hires in some outside help. It would have taken weeks to render the kitchen and finish the plastering, but it's done in a couple of days, leaving Mike's dad and Laura free to start the painting. And pulling in another favour, Laura's dad lays the carpet throughout the entire house, free of charge. Three weeks later, a huge amount has been done, and Mike is back on site installing the windows.
It's been so long with that top corner in the front window to actually get light coming back in and being able to see out down the street now. Yeah, it's really good.
With the development finally coming together, Mike and Laura have decided to show me another of their money-saving ideas. A container load of furniture they brought back from India to sell. 2 years on, they've only managed to get rid of a couple of pieces. So now they've a plan to use it to dress the property.
Crikey.
And I'm dying to know what you think.
Wow. There's quite a lot of it, isn't there?
Yeah.
So if you had quite a problem selling this furniture, why would you put it all in your house?
Good question.
Is the main reason you're putting this in because you like it, or because it's a cost-cutting exercise?
Well, a bit of both. I do still like it, and I do really like some of the bits that I've got. I'm going to be putting those in there because of that, but then there's also the flip side of that. It's not costing me anything.
So you don't feel there's been corners cut?
We're going to be saving a lot of money by putting this into the house, and it might not be to someone else's taste, but then you always run that risk with odd bits of furniture.
There's going to be some people who really aren't going to like this furniture, and to get the maximum amount for your house, I think you're going to have to invest some money in some very simply designed furniture.
I mean, I've never even budgeted for any of that. I didn't budget anything for sort of showing the house at all, so I just didn't worry about things like that. But obviously now you're looking at it thinking, yeah, I'm going to have to put something in there.
6 months in and 1 month over schedule, this development is coming to an end. But Mike and Laura need to come up with an interior design that doesn't put off potential buyers.
First floor bathroom, didn't like it at all.
No, I agree with you, I didn't like the first
Couldn't
floor
bear it, no. Wouldn't want to spend any time in there at all.
It wasn't nice.
6 months ago, I said this was a perfect property development, and Mike and Laura have really done it justice. What was once a dark and derelict front room is now a bright, spacious family living room. Next door, the dining room is also transformed. But the kitchen is the real heart of this house. 3 small rooms have become a large, open-plan living area with great views of the garden that will be a big hit with the family market. Although I still think the downstairs loo would have been better placed in front of the door to the cellar.
Oh my word! Fantastic!
Yeah, it looks a bit different now, doesn't it?
I think coming into the kitchen and seeing that view out to the garden just is really, really successful. You end up putting the loo in here, yeah?
Yeah.
Still have my question mark as to whether it would have been better that side.
I've got to disagree. I still think the toilet is far better there. I think you don't even notice it's there. I think, you know, it's sort of lined up quite well with the worktop, and the kitchen is here.
But here you would have been able to have units right up to that wall there, so you'd have had a lot more unit space in such a big house, and you can't have units there because you need to open the door, so you are restricted more on that side than this side.
But overall, the layout works really well. The front bedroom has a real feeling of light and luxury, and thankfully only some of the Indian furniture has made it out of storage. Next door in the bathroom, I have to say I think Laura was right to be concerned about the exposed brickwork. It feels more 1980 than 1900. The top floor, though, is Mike and Laura's biggest achievement. A couple of ordinary bedrooms have become a really beautiful master suite that sets this property apart.
What a success!
Yeah,
Oh, that's just brilliant. Yeah, what a lovely room this is.
Yeah.
It's,
Fantastic.
are you pleased that you?
I'm over
you
the
did
moon
it?
about how it looks now. I mean, I'm glad you convinced me.
Obviously, it had cost implications, didn't it? And it hasn't been cheap putting it in.
No, I mean, it's no expense spared putting this in, really, but I mean, I got that money from the land drainage from my neighbour, and that's basically paid for this.
I think that this room, together with the bedroom next door, will be what sells this house.
Outside, Mike has worked wonders, and the bargain basement lawn has come good just in time.
Because it's all landscape, this looks brilliant.
Yeah, it's lovely out here, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there's no escaping that the roof needs replacing.
Just one area that maybe you cut a corner too far, and that's the roof.
Bloody roof. About that roof.
And the point is, it will come up on a survey, and therefore you will either have to do the roof or probably take money off your asking price.
If I can't actually be bothered to actually go back to doing it, then I'll just take less for it.
This is one of Mike's cutbacks which won't pay off, and it will affect his final asking price.
So how much did you end up spending on this development?
26,000, just over.
That's seriously impressive. I mean, it's a big 3-storey house.
I mean, it's a lot over the budget I originally had, and although I've done extra work, I never intended to do it. It's still a lot of money, and that may not sound that much. You know, every 500 quid does count, you know.
I mean, by rights, it should have cost about double that. So all of that extra work is really down to you and saving money.
Yeah.
Although Mike and Laura spent more than they planned, they couldn't have done this development on their original budget. By far the biggest increase was the cost of the bathrooms and the kitchen, which jumped from £2,400 to £7,000. But everywhere else, Mike and Laura kept remarkably close to the budget. They spent £1,000 more than they wanted to on structural repairs, but £500 less on damp work. The cost of materials rose from £1,300 to £3,000, and the plumbing and wiring from £2,500 to £3,800. They doubled their tiny budget for decoration and spent only £400 more on the garden than intended. There were unforeseen costs, £500 for dressing the property and £800 for fireplaces. Fees, including sellers' costs, came to £10,850, but their neighbour's waste pipe earned them £2,700. Total spend, £29,950, just under £12,000 over budget, and on a property this size, that's nothing short of a miracle. They originally wanted to sell the house for £215,000, but I think it could now be worth a whole load more.
A nice spacious room, very well presented, neutral colours, fireplace and bay windows.
Oh, I think it's absolutely great in this room. It's a nice big room. Like the fact that they've got a downstairs loo.
The roof is obviously in some need of repair. I think that most buyers may look at that and feel that there's some cost that's going to be involved.
Oh, this is lovely. I like the feature wall up here.
I like this upstairs space, and I think they're right to put in the extra bathroom.
Lots of properties of this age don't have the second bathroom, so to have this room complete with a shower as well is a big bonus.
I would place the property on the open market at £250,000.
I'd recommend an asking price of $250,000 for this property.
I'd place this property on the open market for £250,000.
We've had 3 agents round, and they've all come in at the same figure, which is £250,000.
250?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Cool. That's good, isn't it?
Are you very pleased with that?
Yeah, that makes it all worthwhile. Yeah.
That's more than you were that's the most you were secretly expecting?
If it was anywhere near that, I thought, yeah, that's fantastic.
If you do sell for £250,000, after your selling fees and all your other costs, you'll make over £64,000 in profit.
Well, okay, that's fantastic.
Which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, for a lot of hard work at evenings and weekends.
So was it worth it?
Well worth it, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
This is a fantastic profit. Mike has managed to earn more than 2 times the national average salary in just 6 months. And he's held down a full-time job as well. Mike and Laura bought the property for £156,000 and spent £29,950 on the development. If they sell for £250,000, they'll make a truly remarkable gross profit of just over £64,000. But someone first has to buy the property.
Nice and bright, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Nice big window. I love the fireplace.
Wow!
Oh, this is nice.
And they've kept the original feature of the cupboards, which I really like. So many people rip them out.
I don't like that brickwork.
Brick wall.
No,
I don't like the toilet. I don't like the toilet. I don't like anything about it at all.
I just like the whole aspect of looking out on the garden.
Oh, that bath is gorgeous. It's really nice.
It's huge.
Done really well, isn't it?
Serve 2 people in there. First floor bathroom, didn't like it at all.
No, I agree with you. I didn't like the first
Couldn't
floor
bear
bathroom.
it. No, wouldn't want to spend any time in there at all.
I really like the house, and I definitely would be interested in putting in an offer.
Mike and Laura have decided to put the property up for sale after Christmas at £265,000. But in an uncertain market, this is a risky strategy. I think they should sell up right now. This is a real success story. Even though they went over budget, sometimes you have to speculate to accumulate. They've achieved a fantastic 34% return on their investment, thanks to a great property, a rising market, and above all else, the staggering amount of work that Mike put into the development. Not many people would have been able to pull this off. Next week, I'm in South Wales, catching up with Kim, who is rapidly expanding her property empire.
What really keeps you going? Is it the cash, or do you actually enjoy it?
I enjoy making the cash. so yeah, it's the money.